Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in, everyone, to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris, and today we're going to be going through our updated tight end rankings for the 2025 season. This is mainly for redraft leagues. Obviously, you could use it for like a dynasty league or a best ball league, but this is mainly for a redraft league, so I want to make that clear. And my home league is a 10-team league that we play in, so I kind of go off of that. But at the end of the day, these rankings will apply to all of fantasy football for the 2025 season. Obviously, you got an older guy over a younger guy in some situations. For a dynasty league, that would be reversed. But at the end of the day, we're going to get into this, so let's get crazy. As you can see here, Tier 1, we got Brock Bowers, number 1 for the Raiders. Don't think there needs to be much explanation for that. He's got a better quarterback. He's still the number 1 receiving option in Las Vegas. I keep saying Oakland. Number 1 receiving option in Las Vegas. Going to be a stud even with Geno there. Now, there's a little hesitancy to put him in number 1 again just because Chip Kelly was never known for using his tight ends in his offenses, and Geno never really went to his tight ends. Zach Ertz was there with Chip Kelly, and actually wasn't a big fan of Chip Kelly, but Geno didn't really have a real tight end in Seattle to throw to. So at the end of the day, he didn't have somebody at Bowers' talent. Let's put it that way. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep Bowers at number 1. Thought about putting Kittle or McBride ahead of him, but went with Bowers at number 1. As you can see, number 2, George Kittle. Number 3, Trey McBride. These are all Tier 1 guys. You get any of these guys, you're going to be happy as you're starting tight end. Bowers is probably going to go as a second-round pick in most drafts. Kittle and McBride, you can probably get into the third, but between end of the third and beginning of the 5th, and that's probably the better value. So you can get 2 running backs or running back wide receiver, whatever, however your draft set up. But Bowers is a special talent. That's all there is to it. So you want the best tight end in the game right now, draft Brock Bowers at the end of the 2nd, beginning of the 3rd. You want guys that are right there by him, Kittle and McBride a little bit later. But moving on to Tier 2, some people will be shocked here that I got Mark Andrews at number 4, but I'm going to keep saying it, guys. He's still Lamar's favorite target in the red zone. Last year started off rough for 2 reasons. 1, Isaiah Likely was there. For 2, Mark Andrews got in a car accident before the season started, right before the season started. It was clear he was not healthy playing. He was playing, but that doesn't mean he was 100%. Now, as the season went on, Likely faded away. Andrews got better and better and better. And he's still the red zone target for Lamar. So don't bypass Mark Andrews because of 1 bad season when he's had 5 good ones. That's all there is to it. Number 5 here, my Detroit Lions, Sammy Laporta. I love Laporta. Johnny Morton has been a tight end assistant coach or whatever it was. I forget what he was there for Denver. Tight end passing game coach. And Dan Campbell is a tight end. Sam Laporta was a second-round pick, and he's a stud. He was the number 1 tight end his rookie year. Last year, he fell back a little bit, but that's because Jameson came on. Gibbs did better. But once you seen later in the season, guys start getting banged up, it was right back to Laporta. Second half of the season, him and Andrews, Laporta and Andrews were studs the second half of the season. And don't forget that just because the first half started off slow. Number 6 here, Evan Ingram. I know some people are down on Evan Ingram. I'm still an Ingram fan of his talent. And if Sean Payton is going to use him like he used Jimmy Graham and the Saints, you're going to be damn happy you drafted Evan Ingram. That's all there is to it. Number 7, and the last part of Tier 2 is Tyler Warren, the rookie for the Colts. Granted, I'm not a big fan of what's going on there for their offense or their quarterbacks or any of that. I am a big fan of Tyler Warren. I believe he's going to be the most important piece for the Colts offense outside of Jonathan Taylor in that offensive line. So Tyler Warren is probably going to lead the Colts in catches this year. That's all there is to it. That's why he's here at number 7. Moving on to Tier 3, oldie but goodie, Travis Kelce. Listen, guys, I know some people are like, I'm out on Kelce completely. I'm not mad at you. He's towards the end of his career. But what I do know is Kelce's dropped 25 pounds already, 30 pounds already, going to be moving lighter. Because the biggest thing last year at the end of the season, man, he looked slow. And it's probably because he had extra weight on. He drops that weight. No, he's never going to be his top-end speed that he used to be. But I can tell you this much. He's still a damn good tight end. He's still a Hall of Fame, possibly the best tight end to ever play this game. There's arguments to be made with Gronkowski and everything else. And Travis Kelce still knows how to ball. Pat Mahomes still looks at Travis Kelce as an outlet all the time. So while he's not going to have 110 catches, If Kelce goes out and gets 80 catches, you're going to be fucking happy with him. So stop being so down on a guy who's in one of the best offenses in the league, with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and has been a Hall of Famer his entire career since he became the starter and been consistent. He was a tight end one for what, 4 or 5 years straight? The one year he beat every other tight end by like 3-4 points a game. If he's just 80% of what he was, he's still better than the majority of tight ends in the league. So stop acting like Travis Kelce doesn't still have skills and draft Travis Kelce with confidence. Number 9, told you this in our last updated rank, or in our last rankings for tight ends. He was at number 12. If Joe Flacco was named the starter, David Njoku goes up. If anybody else is a starter, David Njoku probably goes down. You got to wait and see approach. I believe that over the course of the season, Flacco could be replaced by one of those rookies. But Flacco's starting the season. Preseason game was just on earlier. Looked like a stud. He ended up throwing a tight end a touchdown at Harold Fannin, who was playing in a big slot role. He wasn't even lined up as a tight end on the play. He was spread out like a slot. That's why he got the touchdown. People are paying attention to Njoku. That's just how it's going to go. Fannin's going to be part of that offense. But Njoku's still the number one tight end there. Going to be there in 11 personnel and stuff. That's what you need to consider. And Flacco throws the ball to Njoku. We saw that 2 years ago at the end of the season. Njoku became a fucking stud and won fantasy championships for people because of how much Flacco was throwing him the ball. That's all there is to it. Number 10, Tucker Kraft. Talked about this in the wide receiver and in the quarterback ranking videos. Tucker Kraft is probably going to be the number 1 or number 2 option in Green Bay this year. They like Golden, the rookie they drafted, obviously. They took him in the first round. But Romeo Doubs is just a guy. Christian Watson's not playing. Jaden Reed's banged up. Dontavian Wicks banged up. They just don't have a lot of other options. And Tucker Kraft, before getting hurt last year, was a stud tight end. And to get him as the 10th tight end and not have to pay for the 5th tight end, which is where he could finish, is a steal in the draft. Number 11, in the last part of Tier 3, T.J. Hockenson. I drafted Hockenson 3 years in a row. When he was with the Lions the last 2 years and when he went to the Vikings. Simply for the fact that T.J. Hockenson can finish as number 1 tight end any year. Now, he's got Justin Jefferson on his team. He's got those other receivers. New quarterback. That's all going to be in question. That's why I got him down here at 11 instead of up at 7 or 6. But T.J. Hockenson is still a guy I'm going to be happy to draft as my number 1 tight end later and get a steal in the draft. Tier 4. These guys are all kind of bunched together. Jonnu Smith, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin's probably a shock to some of you guys, but as I said in the wide receiver and quarterback video as well, Tyler Conklin's the number 1 tight end for the Chargers. And Justin Herbert throws to the tight end. And granted, Conklin didn't get the breakout like he should have in New York, mainly because of piss-poor quarterback play between Zach Wilson and a hurt Aaron Rodgers. Tyler Conklin is a good a good tight end. And if you draft him, you don't have to pay the number 14 price. That's the beauty of it. You can probably draft him as the 19th or 20th best tight end and get the 12th best tight end. Because in that Chargers offense, he's going to be needed as a pass catcher. Yeah, they got the rookie Gadsden, but he ain't taking over because he can't block. Tyler Conklin blocks and catches. And it's going to show that all throughout this season. On to Tier 5. The rookie stud he's back on the field today in the preseason game. Terrence Ferguson, man. 2nd round pick for the Rams. He is exactly what the Rams want. He's Puka Nacua at the tight end position. In and out, short routes, breaking routes, knows how to do it. He could be the next Travis Kelce over the next couple of years and become that because of his route running in his hands. I'm not saying he is Travis Kelce. I'm just telling you how big a fan I am of Terrence Ferguson. I had him up at, I think, 10 before this, but he got banged up, so he's out for a little while in the preseason. That's going to slow his development in the offense and everything else. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to draft Terrence Ferguson. You can probably get him as the 24th best tight end. But you should be drafting him as the 15th best tight end because that's probably where he's going to finish. Number 16, Brenton Strange. Talked about Evan Ingram. He was with the Jags. He goes to the Broncos. Brenton Strange is his replacement. He showed out a handful of games last year when he was in there for a hurt Ingram, and he is the starting tight end going into this season. Trevor Lawrence is going to need that outlet when it comes to getting rid of the ball when that offensive line doesn't hold up all the time. Brenton Strange can be that guy. Number 17, Kyle Pitts. He actually moved up 1 spot, partially because of what I'm seeing in preseason in the camp and all the news coming out of Atlanta about how much Michael Penix is throwing him the ball. Kyle Pitts, we all know, he's got all the physical gifts in the world. He's got to put it together. If Michael Penix is what unlocks him, great. You didn't have to pay the top 10 price that we were all paying for the last 2 years. and you get him here at the 17th best tight end, and you end up getting a steal if he pans out. If he doesn't, you cut his ass, you go pick up somebody in the 20s. It's that simple, guys. Don't be attached to these players that you're drafting as number 2 tight ends. Get rid of them if they aren't performing the first couple weeks. Don't hang on forever and be like, oh, I know he's going to break out. No, he's not. He didn't. If Kyle Pitts is going to break out, you're going to notice it immediately. It's going to be week 1, week 2, week 3. He's involved. He's catching passes, maybe touchdowns. If he doesn't, cut his ass and go get somebody else. But the good news is you don't have to pay the price that you used to pay. That's the beauty of that. You get him here, you might get a stud top 10 tight end. Number 18, Dallas Goedert, another guy. With A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith healthy, Goedert's not as involved. Now, like I said, I believe Philly's going to pass more. We're going to see what we saw 2 years ago instead of, or was it 3 years ago when they were passing all over the field. Goedert's going to be involved. He's a number 2 tight end. That's all there is to it. I'm not sitting here trying to convince you to draft Dallas Goedert, but he's on a damn good offense, which is always a thing to have for fantasy, is players on good offenses. And he is the 3rd option, maybe the 4th if you count Barkley, on a Super Bowl winning offense. That's all there is to it. You want pieces of offenses that are going to be in the top 10. Goedert is a number 2 tight end, a late number 2 tight end in a 10-team league. You're not going to be disappointed. And number 19 here in Tier 5 is Kelce Loveland, the rookie for the Bears. Now, I'm a big Cole Kmet fan. I was shocked when they took Loveland, especially when they took him over Warren. But I know they're going to use him as a big slot, whereas Tyler Warren's more of an inline tight end. Well, Cole Kmet's an inline tight end. So if they're in 11 personnel, my opinion is Cole Kmet's going to be on the field and Kelce Loveland is not, unless he's playing that 3rd wide receiver spot, which is highly possible. Who knows what Benedict Johnson's doing in Chicago? It's possible that's the plan. Cole Kmet stays in line, Loveland jumps out in the slot role, and that's how they're both on the field on a regular basis, even in 11 personnel, which is 1 tight end, 1 running back, for those of you who don't know. But Kelce Loveland's got potential. He's got the draft capital. He's got the offense that they're going to be trying to run. I'm just not willing to pay up as a top 10 tight end for Kelce Loveland when I don't even think he's going to be on the field all the time. It's just something to keep in mind when you're drafting. Tier 6. Now, here's an oldie but goodie. And that's Zach Ertz, man, for the Commanders. We saw it last year with Zach Ertz. He's still a catch machine around the line of scrimmage. He might not get 20 yards after the catch, but he'll get those 6 yards that you threw it to him with, and he's going to keep doing that. Now, Debo could take a little bit away from that. That's why I dropped him. I think I had him at like 15 or 16 originally. I dropped him down some because if Debo and McLaurin are there, which they still got to sign McLaurin if they don't trade him, or just make them say, hey, show up because we're not paying you. Show up and earn the money we already agreed to. All the same, 2 wide receivers in that offense are going to take away from Ertz, but Ertz is still that relief valve. That, hey, Jaden Daniels, just get rid of the ball real quick so you don't take the hit, man. There's Ertz. Bam, hit him. Number 21 is Mason Taylor, the rookie for the Jets, who could end up being their number 2 wide receiver. Now, he's not a wide receiver, but the number 2 receiving option, maybe the number 3 because of Breece Hall. But I believe Mason Taylor is more physically gifted than Josh Reynolds and going to be more involved than Arian Smith to start the season. Now, you've seen it once he got back from injury. Mason Taylor came out, caught a touchdown in the preseason. Hey, look at that. They're using him. That's what you want to see. And he's a guy that you can get later that most people aren't expecting the Jets offense to be good. But we don't need the team to be a winning team for the team to be throwing the ball. That's all there is to it. You see it all the time with bad teams, garbage points. Guess what counts in fantasy? Garbage points. I'm fine with that. Now, I believe the Jets offense is going to be good, and the play action game with those 2 running backs and Justin Fields is going to be effective of getting those defenses to draw in and letting an athlete like Mason Taylor run wild. His biggest thing was mental errors. That's why I had other guys ahead of him going into the NFL draft, because mental errors, false starts, drop passes, those are things I'm worried about with Mason Taylor. That's why I got him down here. I can't have somebody that drops the ball every time he gets a pass thrown to him, which I don't think it's every time, but I do think it's going to be you're going to see those mistakes in his rookie season. He's still got to develop into a pro, get more discipline, get more focused. And once he does, he'll probably end up being a top 12 tight end in the league for fantasy. But this year, I got him down here at 21. Number 22, Hunter Henry for the Patriots. Just old vet, man. Guy that if you wait on tight end, you're not going to be sad if you get him late. With Diggs there now and Kyle Williams, they're going to be drawing attention away from the center of the field. And Hunter Henry's going to be that guy still running around. They got Austin Hooper there, who they re-signed, but Hunter Henry's still the number 1. Drake May's going to need that relief valve. Travion Henderson could be that guy, so maybe Hunter Henry's the 4th option. But again, he's here in the late 20s or in the mid 20s, and you're not going to be sad that, all right, I waited on tight end in a one tight end league, and this is my guy. You ain't got to hang on to him. You can drop him for somebody else. If you don't like what he's doing, he's not scoring enough, maybe you go pick up a Brenton Strange if he's out there or something. But number 23, Cole Kmet. Again, with the Bears, I believe Cole Kmet's going to be the starting tight end. Loveland's going to be used as like a slot receiver. They'll do two tight end sets, and Colston Loveland will be on the other end of the line next, or maybe right next to Cole Kmet. But the majority of Cole Kmet's plays are coming in line, whereas the majority of Colston Loveland plays are going to be split out into that big slot position. So Cole Kmet can still have tons of value when he's still got a chemistry with Caleb Williams from last year. And 24 here, the last guy we ranked is Juwan Johnson for the Saints. They gave him a new deal this offseason. I told you how I feel about Tyler Shuck, man. I think he's going to be all right over the course of the season. Might not start off great, but as the season goes on, he's going to get better and better and better. Juwan Johnson's going to be part of that. Along with the receivers they got, Juwan Johnson has always been a guy in the red zone for whoever's starting at the quarterback position the last couple of years for the Saints. They haven't tried to replace him yet, so I'm still confident that Juwan Johnson can be one of those guys that you could start as a later tight end, especially as a number 2 tight end, those tight end premium or 2 tight end leagues or flex spots some weeks as a bye week filler. Juwan Johnson can be that guy. So at the end of the day, guys, is our top 24 tiers, 6 tiers. And if you got any questions or want to know what I'm thinking about them, why I say these are where I'd pick them, feel free to message us on the page. Let me know what you're thinking. Tell us we suck. Tell us we're great, whatever it is. But we're going to get out of here. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Till next time, I'm out. First down, Punts!